ебать. Прикинь, с дрон сбивает, ебать. Да нет.
Attack drones targeted the Russian Migalovo airfield, according to the independent media outlet Astra. The airfield is located near the Russian city of Tver, where units of the country's military transport aviation, 196th and 8th Military Transport Aviation Regiments of the Russian Aerospace Forces, are stationed. Video recorded by local residents appears to feature drones approaching the facility, with Russian forces attempting to shoot them down using small arms and other means. One of the drones reached its target and exploded on the airfield grounds. A second video, shot from a different angle, captures the moment of the explosion. The facility is located more than 500 kilometers from Ukraine's state border. Igor Rudenya, the governor of the Tver region, confirmed an attempted drone attack on sites in Tver. He claimed that air defense systems shot down 5 drones and that no damage to infrastructure had been recorded. Despite official statements, local residents reported a large fire and heavy smoke rising from the airfield. Migalovo serves as a base for the Russian Aerospace Forces military transport fleet, including Il-76MD and An-124 aircraft. A military unit is also located nearby. The last reported drone attack on the Migalovo airfield occurred overnight on September 2nd to 3rd, 2024. At the time, residents also reported hearing drone activity and gunfire. Videos posted on social media showed air defense systems in action near the site. Militarny previously reported that a drone strike on the 126th Coastal Defense Brigade in Perevolnoye, located in Russian-occupied Crimea, destroyed an ammunition depot and 4 buildings. A Russian BMP-1 was blown to bits on the Toretsk front. Since the onset of the full-scale invasion, Ukrainian forces have inflicted substantial losses on Russia's fleet of infantry fighting vehicles, notably the BMP-1, BMP-2, and BMP-3 models. Open-source intelligence confirms that over 1,000 BMP-1s and more than 1,500 BMP-2s have been destroyed, damaged, or captured. The more advanced BMP-3s have also suffered significant losses, with Ukrainian troops not only destroying several, but also capturing and repurposing them for their own use. These losses have compelled Russia to deplete its reserves and reactivate older Soviet-era vehicles to replenish its frontline units. Hunting down Russian drone crews in the Serebryansky forest, Ukrainian fighters of Signum Battalion, 53rd Brigade, are methodically eliminating Russian UAV operators per deep state. The battle for Serebryansky Forest in Luhansk Oblast has become one of the most intense and strategically significant engagements on Ukraine's eastern front. This dense woodland near Kreminna has witnessed relentless combat, with Ukrainian forces, including specialized units like the 12th Special Purpose Assault Brigade and the 2nd International Legion, conducting daring operations to reclaim and hold key positions. In June 2024, Ukrainian troops successfully stormed a fortified Russian stronghold known as Dragonfly, disrupting enemy supply lines and weakening their grip on the area. Russian forces have responded with frequent infantry assaults, supported by artillery, aiming to dislodge Ukrainian defenders. However, Ukrainian units have maintained an active defense, utilizing drone strikes and night raids to prevent Russian consolidation. Video of a Russian Ka-52/K-52M using an Igla-Phi short-range air-to-air missile to intercept a Ukrainian kamikaze drone near Moscow during yesterday's drone raid. The Ukrainian Batyar drone has a range exceeding 800 kilometers and carries an 18-kilogram warhead. It can serve as a kamikaze drone, bomber, or decoy. Even when damaged, it maintains its course in a steep dive, ensuring precise targeting. European leaders are rushing to keep Ukraine armed amid signs that President Donald Trump is scaling back direct U.S. involvement in the war, according to Bloomberg. One emerging strategy: Europe could purchase American-made weapons and send them to Ukraine themselves. U.S. military aid has been vital to Ukraine's defense, supplying advanced weapons like HIMARS and Patriot systems that Europe can't match. Experts warn that without continued U.S. support, Ukraine's ability to hold off Russian forces would be significantly weakened. With U.S. arms deliveries halted and peace talks stalling, the urgency is growing. Sources familiar with the situation say Russia is preparing for a new summer offensive while dragging out negotiations with Trump. Europe has neither the stocks of arms nor the capacity to make them in large enough volume, Bloomberg reports. That makes U.S. weapons, whether donated or sold, indispensable. Trump has signaled his intent to withdraw, saying, "This is a European situation. It should have remained a European situation." While the White House has cut off weapons deliveries and rejected appeals to maintain sanctions, U.S. intelligence sharing with Ukraine may continue. Experts say this could still help Ukraine maintain its defensive positions. Weapons transfers approved under former President Joe Biden are expected to run out by summer, creating a critical supply gap. Europe currently lacks the capacity to make up for the shortfall. Andrew Weiss of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace said, "It's certainly suboptimal, but it's not the total worst case if the U.S. exits while still allowing arms sales and intelligence sharing." Samuel Charap from RAND noted that Ukraine's increasing use of domestically produced drones could help offset the loss of direct U.S. funding, saying, "It's not going to be catastrophic." As part of its response, the European Union is preparing additional sanctions targeting Russia. Measures under consideration include cutting over 20 Russian banks from the SWIFT payment system, lowering the oil price cap. Potentially banning Nord Stream pipelines, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has requested 10 Patriot air defense batteries from the U.S., but is still awaiting a response. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has asked NATO allies to provide more, though many are hesitant to give up air defense systems needed at home. Charles Kupchan of the Council on Foreign Relations warned that providing Ukraine with U.S.-made weapons, whether purchased or donated, is essential. It's the only way to convince Putin to end the war. He also cautioned that Trump could face political consequences if Ukraine falls, saying, "Ukraine becomes Trump's Afghanistan, if not worse." The European Buy American strategy could offer a middle ground, supporting Ukraine's defense while allowing Trump to reduce visible U.S. involvement. Ukraine's Foreign Intelligence Service has gathered and verified evidence that China supplies equipment and components for ammunition production to Russia's defense industry. Ole Ivashchenko, head of the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine, reported this. "We have confirmed information that China is supplying machine tools, special chemicals, gunpowder, and components directly to Russian military plants. We have verified data on 20 such factories," he shared. He added that between 2024 and 2025, at least 5 instances of aviation-related cooperation were documented, involving equipment, spare parts, and technical documentation. In 6 additional cases, large shipments of special chemicals were delivered. According to the FISU, as of early 2025, 80% of the critical electronics used in Russian drones originate from China. The report notes that to bypass sanctions, Chinese entities use deceptive labeling and shell companies to ship microelectronics components to Russia. In June 2024, reports indicated that Russia was purchasing used Western and Japanese-made machine tools via China for use in military production. In February 2025, an investigation by the Schemes Project discovered that China had become the primary, and in some cases the sole, supplier of key semi-metals to Russia following the imposition of Western sanctions. These materials are used in weapons manufacturing and are supplied by about 20 Chinese companies, including state-owned enterprises. Gallium, germanium, and antimony are considered critical materials globally and are typically stockpiled in strategic reserves. They are essential for microelectronics, laser systems, thermal imaging optics, specialized alloys, and nuclear weapons components. On April 17th, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Ukraine had received intelligence indicating China was supplying weapons to Russia, including gunpowder and artillery components. The following day, China's foreign ministry denied the claim, stating that Beijing had not provided lethal weapons to either side in the conflict. In March 2024, Militarny reported that Russian forces in Ukraine were using artillery shells resembling Chinese models. Whether the ammunition was produced in Russia or supplied directly from China remains unclear. The Japanese Ministry of Defense will test Type 19 wheeled artillery systems with volcano shells in the UK. The relevant document on the tests was published by the country's Ministry of Defense. The tests will be conducted at the Chinetti Q test site in Aberport, Wales, which will allow this type of projectile to be integrated into the fire control system of Japanese artillery systems. During the tests, Volcano 155 GLR shells developed by the Italian company Leonardo SPA will be fired to confirm their compatibility and test additional equipment. It should be noted that as part of strengthening its own artillery capabilities, Japan placed an order with Italian company Leonardo in September 2024 for the purchase of high-precision Volcano 155mm shells with a semi-active homing warhead. In December 2024, it was reported that Japan had received the first batch of shells of that type, and that work on their integration would begin shortly. Since the shell has a semi-active homing head and is guided by a laser beam, the Japanese Ministry of Defense has begun developing a special quadcopter drone that carries the appropriate targeting equipment. According to the specifications, the maximum flight range of the drone is no more than 10 kilometers, and its size allows it to be used by any soldier. The drone can be transported in a bag. The drone will also be able to guide LJDAM guided munitions used by F-2 fighter jets. The Type 19 wheeled artillery systems were developed using the expertise of Japan Steelworks. The gun section of the new self-propelled gun is taken from the Type 99 tracked self-propelled artillery system, which received a 155mm 52 caliber gun with a fully automatic loading system, while the Type 19 uses a simpler shell and charge feeding system. In total, the Japanese Ministry of Defense plans to purchase more than 300 of these artillery systems, thereby completely replacing the FH-70 towed guns. Along with the purchase, work is underway to reorganize the units. The most notable change was the elimination of artillery batteries and divisions within divisions and brigades equipped with FH-70s and the transfer of 155mm artillery to separate regional artillery units.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.